big architect. He took each and every interest in small things. Today only, if I say I want to get this done, he'll take the interest. So, I don't know how being such a big architect, he never thinks I'm big. And just whatever he was, still is for 15 years.
Doshi is a very dear and personal friend. Since a number of years, I feel myself very lucky to have Doshi as a personal friend, and both our families are very closely connected in life. We are all enjoying our relationship in our life at Ahmedabad. To start with, Doshi starts his day with yoga and pranayam in the early morning. So, in Hindu religion, I always consider him as yogi. As yogi, his soul has been so pure that he has always been ready and willing to help everybody in all walks of life. Doshi has achieved all possible awards as an architect, which possibly nobody else has achieved. There are many persons who are intelligent, but there is a difference between intelligent persons and a genius. I will put Doshi in the class of genius, and such genius people
on a bus between the hotel and the 361 conference in Mumbai 10 years ago. That cemented a friendship, and your friendship has changed my life. You've taught me so much. Firstly, you taught me how the Western world holds, in your opinion, holds the concept of certainty and perfection, and how flawed that is, and how India holds the worldview of uncertainty as a way of dealing with both change and the future, and how constructive that can be. As a way of guiding you. You spoke of being open and receptive to your intuition, and Johanni Palasma has affirmed that 90 to 95% of what we do creatively is through being open to intuition. You specifically spoke of darkness, and you drew our attention and the world's attention to the importance of there being too much light in architecture. And I've started to draw darkness as a result of your quest to look for the darkness in architecture. Gift exchange. My wife and I, Diane, have had the privilege of 11 hours in one-to-one discussion with you on the lawn of your home. in talking about life. I feel so rewarded by that. You sent me to Mandu, and I'm now trying to curate an exhibition on Mandu to bring the wonders of that place to the world. And you inspired me to do drawings, which I gave you as a gift for your 90th birthday. Your architecture is one of experience. It lifts the spirit, just like it does when you go into a Korb or a Khan building. It gives perpetuity to Sangath. You are such a worthy winner of the Pritzker Prize and the RRBA Gold Medal. We are so proud of you.
To talk about Doshi and the impact that he has had on my life and many of our lives. Doshi, tamne hamara shat shat pranam. I think that's something I really wanted to just highlight, that your students are not just your students, they are your family. How many times you and Kamumben took our calls at ungodly hour, or we showed up with a question or some conundrum. You were always there. You always are willing to welcome us all, both you and Kamumben, and even Ba, Kamumben's mother. I feel like that was a home away from home for many, many people in the school. We fought with you, we talked, we discussed ideas, we came with colors to play holy, and how many numbers of tea cups we might have finished at your house, how much food we must have eaten. You both brought so much warmth and welcome. Not a usual thing to think of it in a teacher, that would always be that distance. And even to this day, I would still call you Doshi, not Doshi sir, not Doshi sir. You are Doshi. You are my friend. You are my guru. You are my guide in many ways. Your many awards and work retrospective all around the world are amazing, proud moments. But in my mind, the real proud moments are your students, that what you have given to them, given to all of us. And almost like Jivan Jivanubhat hua api. You gave us how to lead a life that is balanced, that is joyful, that is really full of commitment.
Balkishan Bhai Doshi has been not just an architect in my life, but a friend, philosopher, and guide. I think it's been now almost 28 years since I got to know him first, when we started working together on a mixed housing project, social housing project with LIG, MIG, HIG in Calcutta. And in those days, he used to stay with us when he came to Calcutta. And we spent considerable number of hours talking about so many things, which of course included architecture, but primarily about life and philosophy and his entire egalitarian spirit of how to improve habitat for the common man. I remember one incident when we was discussing on a model of the proposed housing project, which was approximately, we had 13 towers of, 12 towers, I think, of about 1.5 lakh square feet each. And then while we were sitting with the model, he plucked away 2 towers from it and made the complex of 10 towers. And then he said, see, by removing this looks very nice.
Doshi Kaka, a very, very dear friend of my father, a very close family friend, almost a member of my family. But ever since I have sense, I have seen Doshi Kaka with only one face, a smiling, calm face, an unruffled personality. And irrespective of whatever time I think of Doshi Kaka, I can see only that one face. Very many a times I have been to him for work. Very many a times I have done work for him. There are times when I have been to him in sadder times, in happier times. But there is this one smiling, sedate expression which is always there on his face. I know that Doshi Kaka does do meditation, but I am sure his meditation was not of the level as we understand has to develop these kind of qualities. So I then realized that this qualities of meditation that has been developed by him actually come from his work. His dedication to his work, his morality, his spirituality, his calmness, the fact that he's so down to earth, his warmth, everything is a reflection of his work. It is the work which has given him this personality. And if I may use the word, paradoxically, it is this personality which gets again transformed into his work. I dare say that there are few human beings whose personality so match the work that they have actually done. Well, thank you, Doshi Kaka, for being so close to us, for being the kind of person that you are, and always being there for us and our families.
I don't ever remember a time when I don't remember Doshi. He probably knows the family from when I was born. And over the years, from being my parents' friend to being somebody who was out there in the architectural field and who was an amazing educator and storyteller, I have had the privilege of having him become a very dear and personal friend. I remember when he first built the new Shreyas and Darpana's first building, the library. He said to me a few years ago, "Oh, I didn't design it. It was just the same building in two different places." And I was very amused because the Darpana library had a roof like an open book, and I don't think the Shreyas one did. But I do remember in Shreyas that because we were on a slope, we were forever getting flooded and having to take buckets and empty out the room. For me, Doshi is a person of integrity, a person of a minefield of stories of goodness and kindness and funny stories. And he has been so much a part of the life of many of us Sarabhais. I got to work with him extremely closely in 2011 when Darpana was creating a huge happening to celebrate 600 years of the city of Ahmedabad. I wanted Doshi to play Doshi and to be able to come on stage as himself and bring together the incredible Islamic heritage, the Jain heritage, the modern heritage, and weave a story that brought all of this together to make us the unique city we were. And he came every night, night after night, and in all the subsequent versions of Kadak Badshahi, including as late as 2018 when we had to shift here to the Shreyas Foundation and to this very spot. Doshi, you have been such an incredible inspiration and an educator and a teacher and an amazing friend. Thank you.
Today is a celebration day, and I congratulate Doshi Sahab to bring India on the international map. As an architect, he's so many buildings he made, very different, and I enjoy his architect. But I must say, he's an architect, but he's a philosopher. And we all learn so much from him because he's a theory about life, and his things are very different. His thinking is different, and he helps everyone, poor or rich. His idea, and whenever I talk to him, I learn so many things from him. Kanoria Center is today, whatever it is due to Doshi Sahab. Whenever we have any problem, anything to discuss, he always come and support me. So I am very fortunate to know Mr. Doshi in my life and to talk to him and spend time with him. That is my best time of life when I spend time with him. Thank you very much.
I didn't know India when I first met Doshi because it was my first trip in 1993. The following year, I invited him to Italy for 2 conferences in Venice and Sicily. I was immediately struck by his simplicity and authenticity. A true master, able to speak about complex issues in simple and clear way. The opposite of certain academic who speak in a complicated way about simple issues. He took me by hand and led me with love into a new life. Nothing was ever the same as before after that. I acquired new eyes without explanation, but only by being close to him. By observing and listening, I learned so much of what little I know now today. My debt to him is, first of all, spiritual. Not only because he introduced me to meditation and to inner silence, putting me in a position to understand through lived experience that yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Dear Guruji, your human being and your being here is a divine gift imbued with humanism. I'm here to give thanks for what made it possible, whatever it is. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Dear Doshi, it's my honor to send this video message to congratulate you for receiving the important Royal Gold Medal from the British RIBA. My short contribution is regarding you as a man I met a long time ago in 1992 in Italy, in a magical place called Siena with Giancarlo De Carlo. In my eyes, that man was so different from the other honorable guests. His humility and smile were sincere and deep. His black hair and brown skin were unusual for me, but the talk he gave was the one I had been waiting for since I decided to study architecture. I had no hesitation to move to Sangat in Ahmedabad to start with you a magnificent adventure that became, after a while, my life. Soon, I discovered your quality as an architect came from a deep understanding of your traditional culture, with an open mind to the world and the extraordinary capacity to talk, innovate, and interpret the reality. The most important lesson I received was the ability to confirm your own identity in a world without intellectual boundaries, where humans can share life and experiences in a unique dimension of deep consciousness and understanding. That capacity to see the world together with the particular, the human beings with the local lives. In such a way, the term global and local live together in a memorable way that become your way. I like to read your life and design the space for people in such dimensions. The several recognitions you received during your career and the Pritzker Prize in 2018 confirm that the global community wants to celebrate unique moments with your life with you. At the same time, I would like to praise you as a guru for many persons all over the world, including myself, of course. Great honor and respect to my Guruji.
Talking about Doshi, I have so many experiences that is very difficult to recollect one or two. It entirely changed my life. when I was in Sangat. I was working with him in the extension of Kanoriya Art Center. A small staircase we are designing, which is hardly 6 feet by 7 feet, and we take 30 days to design that staircase. Nearly 40 options are done, and it's like a research that how a staircase can be done. I was thinking how a person who has a capacity to do a city is involved in one staircase for so much time. Then I really understand that he told me that શૈલેષ પેશન્સ જોવે, પેશન્સથી જીવનમાં આગળ વધાય અને પેશન્સથી ક્રિએશન થાય. કેમ કે જ્યારે બધા રસ્તા પતી જશે, જ્યારે વિચારો બધા પતી જશે, જેટલું મારા માથામાં છે એ એન્ડ થઈ જશે, ત્યારે નવી કલ્પના આવશે. And that is intuitive, that is which comes from divine, and એ સાચું નવું હશે. There I start understanding that why he is working so hard.
I consider myself very fortunate that I have had the opportunity to have Shri Doshi as an architectural advisor for some of our projects. These projects are large projects and are outside Ahmedabad. So that gave me many opportunities to meet with Doshi Saab personally, to interact with him, and he talked about so many kinds of things while we met. I want to recount one or two instances which are of interest. Once I asked Doshi Saab that, Doshi Saab, when you design something and show it to the client, they will just accept what you say, and when others try it, it's very difficult because they will not accept what you are saying. I know you have very formidable reputation and they will have to accept what you say. But how does one start building that kind of reputation? Doshi Saab also told me that when you go to some clients who are very wealthy, very powerful, rich people, they will try to pressurize you. They will try to ask you to do certain things which you may not believe in, which are architecturally wrong according to you. So you should remain very firm. You should do only what you want to do and what you think is the right thing to do. And this is the way to do it. So he said, what you should do, Sohan, is go with a signed resignation letter in your pocket. If the client tries to pressurize you too much, you just get up, put the letter on the table and go away. Probably the client will respect you for what you are doing and call you back. If he doesn't call you back, somebody else will call you back for what you are doing. And this is the way to make sure that you do exactly what you want to do and do not compromise. Believe in what you are doing and keep doing that.
Doshi Sahab, what a great thing happened. What a prestigious international recognition. I think that could have been happened much before. Anyway, I won't use the word congratulations because it's other way. All our clients, friends, colleagues telling us congratulations that your guru got such awards. We're really so proud of you. Since my second year, used to come to your office and ask you, sir, and you just said one thing, Kal thi aija, join from tomorrow. And all these years we've been around you. Your role in my life is so vital and we're so grateful for you. Anyway, heartiest congratulations, Sahib. We're so proud of you that we have been recognized. Thank you.
I was in first batch of Kanoriya Center for Art. So I know Doshi Sahib since 1984 when he was designing Kanoriya Center for Arts. And his main search was about like how in that space artists, all kind of artists like painters, sculptors and printmakers and even performing artists also, how in that space these all artists will be accommodate and feel more comfortable to work in with the nature around. So his inquiry was always like very holistic and would like to ask all kind of artists and what kind of facility we need and how we accommodate all kind of artists and performance artists also. So Doshi's in this building, like Doshi's in this building, the design is not limited to the material as like brick and concrete, but from each and every space you see, artists would more connect with painting and sculpture and nature. So the way he is working with forms, like the way he explore forms, so he is not only like into making more as drawing as a design, but he would like to see three-dimension form. He would like to connect with artists. Like I was very young at that time, so like he would discuss with me and like how to explore Gufa's form, and we used to make model, and finally I made metal and marble model also of Gufa. So Doshi is like his idea is very holistic with all kind of artists. He can merge with so much of his comfort with other artists, and that's how he is exploring spaces more.
My association with Professor Balkrishnan Doshi has been for now over 40 years. I came to Ahmedabad in 1981 as a student of School of Planning, and Professor Doshi was our studio teacher. During that time, I didn't understand much what he was talking about urban planning in India. However, after I graduated in 1983, I started working with him as a research assistant on some research project on residential open spaces. And from there onwards, one after another work, and one of the most prestigious work was work on Vidyadhar Nagar, Jaipur. I worked for full time for almost 10 years. In between, I went abroad for higher studies. I came back and I continued to work. And 1993, I requested that I will also like to join as a faculty at School of Planning, to which Doshi promptly agreed that how I can do balance the both teaching and working on professional projects.
I met Doshi in 1967. I, I wanted to build a house. And my brother told me there is some architect.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It sure is an exciting evening with 1,000 pairs of sparkling eyes and 1,000 bright faces for an audience. What a heartwarming sight you all make. On behalf of the Indian Institute of Architects, the Indian Institute of Interior Designers, and Doshi We Know, we welcome you all. I'd like to call upon the stage the chairperson of IIA and IID Ahmedabad, Mr. Vatsal Joshi, to welcome our esteemed guest. I'd like to call upon the stage the chairperson of IIA and IID Ahmedabad, Mr. Vatsal Joshi, to welcome our esteemed guests for the evening and set the show rolling.
Thank you, Aditi. And let us all rise for the national anthem. Thank you. Namaskar. On behalf of the Indian Institute of Architects and Institute of Indian Interior Designers, Ahmedabad, and Doshi Foundation, we welcome you all to this momentous occasion for the design fraternity of Ahmedabad, where we are blessed to have the presence of Padma Bhushan, Pritzker, and Reba Gold Prize winner, our own Doshi Sahib. A very warm welcome to architect C.R. Raju, President IIA, and architect Jabin Zakarias, President Triple ID, who have come specially to attend this event. Thank you so much. IIA and IIID are premier architecture and interior design institutions of Ahmedabad, of India actually, working consistently for the betterment of the design practices across the country. IIA is 100 plus years old, while IIID is 50 years old now. We at Ahmedabad have been striving to strengthen the fraternity by holding joint events and getting our members together. We invite all of you to be a part of these institutions and strengthen the fraternity for our own good. Our mission to revive the 10-year dormant IIA Ahmedabad Center has paid off, and here we are today, along with IIID Ahmedabad and Doshi Foundation, celebrating Doshi with an unprecedented strength in Ahmedabad, and we are glad and thankful to all of you for have joined here in this celebration. We are grateful to the Doshi family for agreeing to this occasion and having shared a lot of close connections with us for the tributes that you saw just now. We are also thankful to architect Sohan Nilkant for his Sarod recital. He has agreed to play for us. And we also value the valuable contributions of Suresh Bhai and Doshi Foundation, Nilkant Chhaya, and all the panelists who have come from various cities for this special evening. We also acknowledge the support of our term partners at IIA and IIID, without whom this could have not been possible. On a personal front, IIA Ahmedabad got its recognition from Doshi Sahib when he attended our event Architecture in Family by Nimish Patel and Parul Javeri. And this was a morale booster for us and our team. And since then, his support to the institution has led us to newer heights, and we shall be forever indebted to his vision and guidance. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We wish you luck and support in your endeavors. The stage is set for a Sarod recital by our very own architect and musician, Sri Sohan Nilkant. Can we have you on stage, sir? He is accompanied by Anirudh on the tabla and Dev on the tanpura.
एक सेकंड दिखाइए, सॉरी, आप जरा मिलाइए। इस साइड रखो, अभी देखो। कर दो चालू, एक सेकंड। फीडबैक आ रहा है। Thank you.
Thank you, Neelkanji, for the calming notes. We'll take a minute's time to redo the stage. Please bear with us. To set the tone for the main events, without using too many words, we'd like to play a short video clip for you all. Can we have the video, please?
We never notice light. We just assume it. But when an object is created around it, it creates a nuance. It is an effort. Each step of the ladder is different. But with each step, you gain a new perspective. Not just see and admire nature, inhale it. Experience comes first, form much later. Create a bond, a sense of belonging, not just with the physical form, but with eyes, with sound, with senses, and then the landscape will begin to appear. The question I asked, what was important? Was it the form of the building or the content, the space? Look around. Every object around us, the nature itself, lights, sky, water, stone, everything is in a symphony. And this symphony is what architecture is all about. My work is the story of my life, continuously evolving, changing and searching. Searching to take away the word architecture and look only at life. I have been on this search for many decades. And it still mesmerizes me at every turn. It has been all my life, and I will happily be doing it for many more decades to come.
Delightfully purposeful, timelessly original, and soulfully independent. His work has drawn the attention of generations of architects from across the world. That his legacy is a global asset had become evident much before the Padma Bhushan, the Pritzker, or the Royal Institute of British Architects recognitions came in. It's the 26th March, 2022, an ordinary Saturday. And in case you're wondering what's the occasion is that the man is amidst us. India's beloved architect and professor, Balakrishna Vithaldas Doshi. We welcome you on stage, sir. I request Mr. Vatsal Joshi to please come on stage for the felicitation ceremony. I invite the President of IIA Ahmedabad, Mr. C.R. Raju, to join Vatsal Bhai to felicitate Padma Bhushan B.V. Doshi. Thank you, sir. I request the president of IIID, Ms. Jabeen Zakarias, to join Vatsal Bhai on stage to felicitate Doshi Sahib.
Most respected, loved Doshi sir, all my friends here, students, this is not an evening for long words. This is what we should feel with our heart. I won't take much time, but let me tell you, as we go through these times, difficult times, different times, challenges, what we need more than ever, more than design solutions, is a direction. And towards this, our vision for last term in IIID was Where is North? Doshi sir was our ambassador, and I still remember what he said. This idea of North Star is great. Dhruv, he's a legend. The star which doesn't move, but is always there believing in eternity and always inspiring us to move ahead. Friends, can you see something different in the sky today? Yes, of course, the North Star is there. But let me also tell you, sir, today in the sky, there is a star named Balkrishna Vitaldas Doshi, registered with the International Star Registry, which will always be there for designers all over the world, particularly we Indian designers and architect students, to look up and see the direction which he has set. So profound was that movie. What more would we need other than him directing us for eternity? Thank you so much. This is not only a tribute for Doshi sir, but a promise for all of us for years, for generations to come. Thank you so much.
So this is star in name of Doshi sir, and that is it.
Oh. There is a real star, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Can you have the AV, please? That AV. Sir, yes, please. It's okay, it's okay. Ek minute, sir.
You know, the North Star is a great idea because it is one star which never moves, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is the Dhruv. And he devotee, and he believes in something which is eternal. And I think that becomes eventually the star. I think that legend is very, very important for us as the goal in life. Whatever we do, we should pursue it till the end. And until we are not satisfied, we will continue to do so and not take other things easily available from somebody else because we don't have to make an effort. I think that is for me, the message. And I'm so glad that you have now kept that as a North Star thing. So legacy of this must continue. And we can make many, many stars, next to that North Star. And each star will have the cluster of stars. Those stars will remain there and they will shine and glitter and give us inspiration. So thank you so much.
Respected Doshi ji, and all the friends who have gathered here. On behalf of the Indian Institute of Architects, it is a privilege and honor to be here in the felicitation of our beloved Doshi ji. When I came into this place, what better example of sustainability can we see? This place was carved out about 62 years back. And till today, it has sustained itself, and we are all here enjoying this beautiful landscape and with a beautiful facade, floral facade on the building. Today we are looking at facades with various materials, but this is the best facade I have seen in my life. Thank you, sir, for that wonderful effort. And this is the inspiration. And Doshi ji has received the Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Royal Institute of British Architects, gold medal, and the Pritzker Prize. But more than all that, he has given the inspiration to every architectural student and architect through the last 7 generations. That is going to stand in long stead for all of us to get inspired and imbibe the good qualities of a life fully enjoying with humility and performance par excellence. The passion and the dedication he has had in setting up institutions, training students, and exemplary practice for over 7 decades has enriched the profession. You always feel that architect is a title, but it is stalwarts like Doshi ji, through their work over so many decades, who enrich the title architect and not vice versa. Just by getting a title, we don't get the privilege. The privilege comes when we enrich the title by our performance. Thank you, sir, for the wonderful evening, and wish you long life and many more decades, as you said, of service to the profession, which we all love to see for a long time to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We can go now. Yeah.
I am not going to take much of your time, but I just want to say I am so grateful and I am very touched by the way today's function has been arranged and all of you have come. I know all these gentlemen, they have been running the institutions and they found time to come today for us. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, have a seat.
I now invite on stage the Doshi We Know team. Mr. Suresh Patel, Professor Neelkant Chhaya, Rajesh Shah, Radhika ma'am is already with us, Bhairavi Dhoot, and Umang Goswami.
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say that the main energy behind Doshi we know, Suresh Patel, he has not been well and has not been able to come from UK. So we miss him, but his presence is here, Doshi. Also, I think the birds recognized that Doshi is here, and the peacocks are screaming, and all those other birds were flying. So that's more than what we can do. We can't fly. Doshi we know was formed many years ago. Every Doshi birthday, we used to meet all his students, and we would collect some money, whatever little money we could afford. And over a period of time, and then it became the every 10th birthday, the 70th birthday, the 80th birthday, and it never kept on ending. You know, now we are 90th is over, 100th is still to come, and more money will come, and we will create more fellowships. But Doshi was kind enough, or in his usual way, whatever we had collected, he put in the same amount. And that meant that we could give a much better fellowship, a more substantial fellowship for work being done by younger people in fields which are related to how human beings inhabit the earth. And it's called breaking the barriers of those who are trying to be outside the outline. And so this is Doshi we know. We called it that because the first time we said, yeah, we know Doshi, and so it was called Doshi we know, and we are very glad that IIA and IIID and all of us are together here for this occasion, and we look forward, Doshi, to several more of these, many more. So thank you very much, Doshi. Yeah. We will. I promise to live as long as he does. Thank you, Doshi.
Thank you, sir. We now have a short ceremony for which we request Doshi Sahib to felicitate two students who won the COA Best Thesis Awards. For his thesis on waste as a resource, we congratulate Abhishek Sathe for bagging the COA Best Thesis Award. Thank you. For her thesis on the reuse of a quarry, we congratulate Shalini Polra for the COA Best Thesis Award, and we invite you on stage, Shalini. I now request Pranav Gajjar, along with Professor Chaya, to confer the Doshi We Know Fellowship Award, Breaking the Barriers.
It's fine, now he's here. Hello, good evening, everyone. So this is the third Doshi We Know Fellowship that is being awarded. As Professor Chaya briefly mentioned, it was formed on Professor Doshi's 70th birthday by his students, which was formalized into a trust in 2018. We are extremely grateful to Professor Doshi to guide us with our intentions and help us achieve our aspirations. Our ever-growing mandate is to bring together the architecture fraternity in India across all ages and practices and to open new horizons of thoughts. I would now request Professor Doshi to present Chandra Prakash Kumre with the Doshi We Know Fellowship for 2022 and 23. Chandra Prakash, can you please come on stage? Chandra Prakash Kumre, his proposal is to study the women workers in the construction industry as well as in rural areas through photography and paintings. It proposes to bring about a greater empathy and understanding of their lives through the medium of the visual arts. Noted artist, Mr. Murli Chirut, will be mentoring Chandra Prakash on his fellowship pursuit. As a part of the fellowship, besides the mentoring, Chandra Prakash will receive a sum of 3 lakh rupees to fulfill his undertaking. Thank you.
In the spirit of Doshi's entire life activities, this award is open to persons from any field, not just architects, not just people who are to do with making buildings. And therefore, Chandra Prakash's entry this time attracted us because he's working in an area which is of great social importance, how the lives of women who are working on construction sites. And his photographs and his paintings are quite wonderful documents of this. And we hope that he will, through this year, build up this entire range of work. And that at the end of the year, we'll be able to have a traveling exhibition of his works, which he has done during the year. He will be mentored by Murali Cherut. Murali is a painter and a performance artist, a theater person, a man of many dimensions, who is partly an Ahmedabadi. Many years he spent in Ahmedabad at the Kanoria Center, and Murali will be his mentor. Now Murali is the chairman of the Lalit Kala Academy of Kerala. So Murali, we are very happy to bring you here. Can you just come and shake hands with Doshi? He set up our theater group in the school. He's done so many things which are of great importance, and he has run some of the finest foundation courses in the architecture schools across the country. Thank you, Murali.
I now invite on stage Amrish Mandlik, Honorary Secretary, IIA Ahmedabad, to deliver the vote of thanks to our term partners for the event.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Ahmedabad, IIA Ahmedabad Center, I would like to thank all our term partners for their continuous support for this event and all the events coming in near future. They are tremendous support for all of us for the success of these kind of events always. And I would like to thank all the 8 partners, term partners we have for IIA Ahmedabad Center: Stonic, Havels, HiFab, Symphony, Brickstore, RCDR, Piero, and Nexon Tiles. All these 8 partners are very good support for IIA Ahmedabad Center, and I would like to thank all of them. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thanks, Amrish. I request Chirag Doshi, Honorary Secretary for IIID Ahmedabad, to thank our term partners.
Thank you, Aditi. All of us are having a great time here. And for this, this event wouldn't have been possible if not for the continuous support of all our term partners, whether it be IIA or Triple ID. For Triple ID, I would like to thank All About Living, Sarah, Flow Dynamics India, Future Solutions Group, Risha Lighting, Coil Aluminium Concepts, Compress India, Nexian, and Inner Engineering. Thank you, everyone, and keep supporting us. Thank you.
Next up, and most eagerly awaited, is a conversation session between the students and admirers of Doshi Sahib to share anecdotes, learnings, and memories of and with the master. The session will be moderated by Professor Chaya. Can we have you on stage, Professor Chaya? I also invite on stage Girish Doshi of Navkar Architects, Parul Zaveri ma'am of Abhikram, Sarita Vijayan of FAB, Future of Architecture and Building, Sameep Padora of Sameep Padora and Associates, and Riaz Tayabji of Anthill Design.
Okay. Yeah. No, you need that to be. Yeah, I think. Oh, careful. Huh. So it's a conversation. It's as conversation should be, something very free and warm, and perhaps a little bit argumentative too. And there are enough people here for that to happen. We would not like Doshi to be tied here. If you are feeling somewhat fatigued, you can leave us to our arguments. But perhaps you can hear a little bit and then, I don't know, it's up to you. You are, as usual, you are the freest person in this entire group. In the entire world. Yeah, Parul says, yes, this is very true. So what we'll do is, I'll invite one by one people to speak about their experiences with Doshi, yeah, or his buildings, or any such matter around Doshi, yeah. We will have them speak for a few minutes, and we'll do a round like this. Then we may have, if we have time and energy, we will have a further conversation. So I was wondering how I would sequence this. And then I thought, well, we shouldn't have Ahmedabad starting it. Otherwise, Parul, you are going to be the first one. But I'm going to ask Sarita Vijayan. Sarita is very important to all of us because she was editor, sub-editor of Indian, but before that, Inside Outside, and then editor of Indian Architect and Builder, and then sort of mover and shaker of the architectural world through the AEC conferences, where we got to know her even better and how much full of energy she is. And she's had many, many wonderful conversations with Doshi. So the first person I'm going to ask now, of course, she has created something called FAB, which is Future of Architecture and Building. So she's in the future. We are right here in the present. And Sarita, can you tell us what it looks like from the future, from Doshi's eyes?
Thank you, Chaya. Thank you for inviting me, IIA, IIID. It's an absolute privilege to be part of this because I'm the proverbial outsider. I'm not an architect. I just love architects. My entire career has been in this, just exploring great buildings and even greater human beings through the lens of architecture. I must start by, my second day, or no, not second day, I think my second week in a magazine called Inside Outside, my editor asked me to go and visit Sangat. So unlike all of y'all who know who B.V. Doshi is, I walked in I walked in completely open to understanding who he is. And I was telling Sameep in the morning that I walked into Sangat and I'm not even an architect, and it changed me forever. I've had the privilege I consider Doshi like my parent. I consider Doshi is my mentor, my guide, and I'm sure everyone here considers him like that. But I've had the privilege of having, I've had many opportunities to listen to him. And he's never talked about architecture to me. He's always talked about life to me. And over the years, unknowingly, I have imbibed so much of how he views life, how simple he makes things, how easy it is to be with him, how he listens. It's been just an incredible privilege. Doshi, I don't think I've ever formally thanked you ever. I take so many privileges and I take him for granted sometime. I will pick up the phone and say, Doshi, I need you to be up on the jury, or Doshi, I need this, or whatever. He's never refused me. He has always indulged me. So formally in front of the entire audience, Doshi, I want to really thank you for making me part of your life. And the privilege of just knowing you is, I'm just simply blessed. So thank you. Thank you.
No, Sarita, that was too short. But yes, I remember that dinner in Mumbai in front of the sea on a terrace where Doshi and you were talking. And it was a wonderful conversation that went on. I will now ask Girish, who is the most serious looking of all of us on stage. Girish Doshi, I think all of you know him because he's very well known in architectural circles. He runs a practice in Pune, but he also set up a very, very good school in Pune called Brick. And later, after that, after setting it up and getting it going, he is now involved in several educational efforts as well. And so Girish is somebody who is taking both sides of the Doshi equation, the teaching side and the practice side. And he worked with Doshi for many years in Ahmedabad. And so Girish, I would like to ask you to talk.
Thank you, Chaya. I
I know that Samip Podora said something to you about me, and I'm not really serious, and I'm going to prove it, you know. So to prove it, I start with a story. I know Doshi is great, and I love Doshi. All that is there always. It is eternal. But the things which I'm going to say is the fun or the Vastushil office, what all used to go behind, which nobody is aware of. In small circles in Pune and all, I speak to my student, but saying that please don't tell all this to Doshi, you know. So the one story is of, થોડું હું ગુજરાતીમાં વાત કરીશ. I'm really sorry, કારણ કે એ વાર્તા જ એવી છે. 7 દૂધીની વાર્તા છે. તો હવે તમે એમ કહેશો કે આ 7 દૂધી એટલે શું હવે? તો એકચ્યુઅલી તમને ખબર છે કે દોશીની ઓફિસ 3 ફૂટ જમીનની નીચે છે. અને એક વખત કમુબેનને એવી ઈચ્છા થઈ કે આપણે દૂધીનું ઝાડ વાવીએ પાછળ. એટલે પછી માળી જે હતા એમને માંડવો કરી દીધો અને ત્યાં દૂધીનું ઝાડ લગાડવામાં આવ્યું. અને અમુક વખત પછી 7 દૂધી ત્યાં બહુ મોટી એટલે સરસ તાજી લટકવા લાગી. અને એ જે નીચેની બારી હતી ત્યાં એક બાબુભાઈ કરીને મોડલ મેકર બેસતા. એકદમ ભગવાનનો માણસ, શોર્ટ હતો, સરખું કામ કર્યા કરે. અને એ દિવસે એનો ઉપવાસ હતો અને સવારથી એને બહુ ભૂખ લાગેલી. તો મેં કીધું હવે બાબુભાઈ તમે શું કરશો? તો બાબુભાઈ સરખા ઓલી દૂધીની સામે જોતા હતા કે ગમે એમ કરીને આ દૂધી હું ખાઈ લઉં. તો અનફોર્ચ્યુનેટલી શું થયેલું કે સવારે કમુબેન દૂધી ગાળીને ગયેલા કે એ 7 દૂધી છે. તો મેં બાબુભાઈને કીધું જો તમારા નોકરીનો સવાલ છે, તમે જો વિચાર કરીને. ના સાહેબ હું તો ભગવાનનો માણસ છું, મને કાંઈ ના થાય. અને સીધી એને દૂધી તોડી અને કાચી ચવાઈ ગયો, એટલે કાચી ખાઈ ગયો આખી. મેં કીધું આ તો અદ્ભુત તમે કરી નાખ્યું. કે ના મને કોઈ ડર નથી. અને પછી કમુબેન પાછા આવ્યા 4 વાગે અને પાછી દૂધી ગણવામાં આવી, એક ઓછી હતી. એટલે પછી તો કિશોરભાઈ, રમણ અને બધા જેટલા પ્યુન બધા દોડાદોડી કરે. અને ઓફિસની અંદર વિચાર ચાલતો હતો કે આ કેવી રીતે થયું હશે. તો મેં બાબુભાઈને કીધું જો હવે તો પ્રોબ્લેમ થઈ ગયો બાબુભાઈ. તો ખબર નહીં બાબુભાઈને શું થયું, એકદમ ઉઠ્યા અને દોશીની ઓફિસમાં દરવાજાને પીવટ છે, જોરથી ધક્કો માર્યો. તે બહુ જોરથી ભટકાય ત્યાં. બધા જોવા લાગ્યા આ શું થયું. તો બાબુભાઈ દોશીને કહે છે સાહેબ દૂધી મેં ખાધી છે અને આ લો તમારી નોકરી. એકચ્યુઅલી નોકરી છોડવાનું કોઈએ કીધું નહોતું, ખબર નહીં એમને ક્યાંથી પ્રેરણા થઈ. આ લો તમારી નોકરી અને હું તો ચાલ્યો. પહેલાં તો બધા કોઈ વિચાર કરે સાહેબ અને કમુબેન. એની પહેલાં તો એ ભાઈ સ્કૂટર પર હતા અને સેફમાં ગયા અને પછી કંઈક 4-5 છોકરાએ મોડલ બનાવવા આપ્યા. અને 2 મહિના પછી તો બાબુભાઈ ચોકડીનું નવું શર્ટ પહેરી અને ઓફિસમાં આવ્યા. અંદર ના આવ્યા, બહારથી કીધું ગિરીશભાઈને મોકલો. એટલે હું ગયો. એટલે મને કહે કે હવે તું અમને ખોડિયારમાં આજે દાલ વડા અને આ ખવડાવીશ તમને. અને આ જો મારી આગળ પ્લેનની ટિકિટ છે, હું ચાલ્યો છું કાઠમાંડુ. મેં કીધું ના ભાઈ બાબુભાઈ શું થયું? કંઈ કાઠમાંડુ કામ મળ્યું છે, ત્યાં જઈ રહ્યો છું. મેં બાબુભાઈને કીધું ભાઈ તમે પ્લેનમાંથી હાથ બહાર નહીં કાઢતા, ત્યાં અલાઉડ નથી. અરે સાહેબ બધું ખબર છે, હું એરપોર્ટ પર જઈને આવ્યો. તો મને લાગે છે બાબુભાઈનું જે નસીબ હતું એ દૂધીમાં અટકાયેલું હતું, તો બિચારા છૂટા થઈ ગયા. ત્યારથી મજામાં છે, એટલે ચાલે છે એમનું કામ સરસ. તો આ એક એકચ્યુઅલી જે મેં વાત કરી, ધ થિંગ વિચ આઈ સ્પોક વોઝ કે ધ ઓફિસ વોઝ સચ અ ગ્રેટ સેટઅપ. એટલે આમ વી કેન સે દેટ ઇટ ઇઝ અ કુટુંબ, યુ નો, લાઈક ઇટ ઇઝ લાઈક અ big family. And sometimes 20 people will be there, sometimes 35, sometimes more, you know. But everybody was very, very happy. And the kind of things which used to happen inside the office and the respect which each one of us had for Doshi, the moment Doshi will enter in the studio, each one will be standing and we will be very focused and very conscious. So much so that even tracing paper will cut, you know, in different sizes. And as Doshi works with his pen, we are supposed to judge that what tracing paper should go now, you know. And Doshi used to feel very happy that people are actually working hard. And there is Doshi had this one big table which he got it from France, and many people wanted to work on it, you know. But whenever Doshi is around, nobody can dare to sit on that table. But on that table, Doshi will sit, and each young one of us will be around him, and the kind of stories, kind of sketches, and kind of work he used to do, I think it is unparalleled. And probably the Doshi studio is, to me, is kind of a last studio, but it is eternal studio. It will be always there in our memories, and probably by God's grace, it will go on and on. It will never stop. The kind of thing. And of course, now you see that people from family also have started working so well. I just seen Raghu's work, and I was so happy, the kind of bungalow he has done. So all this is happening because of Doshi and the way Doshi handles. Like, I remember he coming to Pune. First day he will stand on Monday, a building which is right in the center of Pune. And whenever he want to call me, he will say that you come to Lucky Restaurant, which is a restaurant where Devanand and all film world used to sit. And Doshi will go and have a chai there. And from there, his work in Pune will start. And so many people he will meet. Like, once we went to one missile joint, which is called Sri Krishna. And we had a missile. And then suddenly, Doshi had a friendship with the old owner of that missile store. And he went, without telling me, he went to his house. I was so worried where he's gone. And he said, "Nana, હું તો ત્યાં એમને ત્યાં ગયેલો." And he sees hand, મેં મારો હાથ બતાવ્યો. So he was unpredictable. But in Pune, he's a child. Pune he loves, Numovi is his school. And he just loves that school. And I was surprised that 1.5 feet steps also, he easily used to jump on, when I think he was almost like 90-year-old. So he, about his school, about his friends in Pune, about his family, especially Vallabh Sheth, his brother, he just in love with Vallabhbhai, I remember he crying for him after his death, and I will never forget that scene where he so affectionately talks to his brother, who is no more, So this is other side of Doshi, from where I think architecture comes. The way he said us, all the stories which he speaks to us, all that comes from this his childhood, where he talks about staircase in the house and old people and Dada, everybody, and from where he goes to so many places like Mumbai, then England, and from there to Paris and Chandigarh, long thing, and in the end, he settles in Ahmedabad, and I'm sure Ahmedabad must be very proud. As a Puneites also, we are very proud of him because he's from Pune, and I really wish him great life and great luck. I think he doesn't need luck. Luck is always with him, but
Girish, we don't mind declaring you an honorary citizen of Ahmedabad. So you can feel as proud as, that goes for the two of you as well. You are now declared honorary citizens of Ahmedabad. So you can feel as proud and owners of this great person. Huh? So let's come to Ahmedabad, Parul. Why not?
Why not? Yes. He's very smart, Neelu. He said, let people talk. He's supposed to conduct this conversation. But because he wants to speak less or not get into trouble, he has asked us to speak first. Right? Anyway, for Doshi, to me, even going beyond my architecture years, in 65 or 64, it started coming to this school in summer vacation just to help them to do the stage. Pal Babu was here in Shreyas, and Leena Ben used to have unique way of teaching people. And I used to really wonder, walk around this campus. I was not part of this campus, just came during summer vacation. And I just loved this place. Eventually, my cousin, who was an engineer, he was supervising one of Doshi's projects. So I'd heard about him, he used to talk about architecture. And all this, I got interested in architecture much before that, but this was the inspiration for me. The kind of spaces he created. And I met him also once at my friend's place. And he immediately, his memory is so sharp. It is amazing. I met him once, he must have met so many hundreds of people, but the minute I was there for that interview, that time you didn't have to write so many answers, and there were no long question papers, etc. For admissions. And immediately recognized me that, oh, this is the one I'd met. And I could see that recognition in his eyes. And ever since then, me and Nimish, my husband, who was 3 years senior to me, for us, he has been in the same place as our parents. He has always been there as our support. Anything we need, he was there. In a competition where we had won that, but the jurors found it to be that they're too young. This is just a 2-year-old firm. So Doshi immediately, we told him that. He said, why are you worrying? I'm here to support you. He gave a letter that I will support them. They can be given the projects. I'm giving you the assurance of full support from my office. We had to set up anything that we had to do, even an agreement. So he pulls out the agreement and gives us the agreement. He'll tell Suresh bhai, 2-3 agreements apda lao, emne apo, Nimishne ne Parul ne, emni office ma agreement. We can go closer.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least મારે તો વાત કરવી છે. Now can you hear me? Oh, the mic is on. Oh, great. For us, for any crucial times. When my daughter went into coma, we were in the hospital, and there Doshi walks in. He sits in meditation, and then he says, I think she has a problem here. There has been some problem in the back of her neck. And that's exactly what the neurologist who came, after all the checkups he did, that's exactly what he said. The minute he knew that this has happened to our daughter, he was in the hospital the same day. When Nimish was breathing his last, in the morning, Doshi called. He didn't know that. Radhika said, Papa wants to come. I said, okay. And last 45 minutes, he was next to Nimish, stroking his head, holding his hand. The kind of relationship he had with Nimish was unique. He just knew that these are his last hours, and he came and sat there. I have seen this happen even with people that he doesn't know, even people who have fought with him. I have seen him recommend them for the highest scholarships in USA. Can you find someone who would not have a grudge against someone who has just fought, said anything to him? And I know, even as student, and even when we worked in his office, we could say, na, Doshi, you're wrong. In that age, it was very easy to say that. And he would quietly listen. He would want to know, why do we think like that? And appreciate all that we said. If it was worth it, he would go ahead and encourage us in that direction. And whatever we did, we've always got encouragement from him. And even today, every 2 or 3 weeks before I call him, he calls. Radhika would say, Papa ne baat karvi se. And I feel so guilty many a times that I have not called him. It's he who keeps calling us. He looks up, are you okay? ખેતરમાં કરી રહી છે કંઈક, મારે આવવું છે. Anything that we do, he's always been part of it. And everyone has said that he has been philosopher, guide, parent, inspiration. And to us also, he's been the same, and I think much more. We have a bond with him. I think everyone might be feeling that. But Nimish and I have always felt that we have very, very, very special bond with him.
Yeah, Parul, I think you touched upon something so important. The depth of human concern. And it's true, all of us have experienced this. But in your case, you have experienced it so many times. And it's such important points of time. Thank you very much, Parul, for telling us all this. I'll now ask Sameep to talk maybe.
Thank you. It's when I was told that we have to come and speak about Doshi sir, I was kind of thinking in my head that it's like you're asking a pond to talk about the composition of the ocean. I mean, it's how do you kind of make that commitment, or how do you kind of say anything with confidence? But I think the only way to do it is the way that everyone's actually been talking so far, and it's really about that personal connection that you seem to almost intuitively have with Doshi sir. I mean, it's in some sense I might be the least. The person with the least amount of physical contact with Doshi sir, but even when I met him the first time, it felt like I'd known him forever. I mean, I had known him forever is okay, I mean, because you've seen his work while you're studying, but the thing is that he behaved like he knew me forever as well. I mean, I think that is really incredible. It's an incredible quality that I don't know, I've never not seen anyone else possess. It's as if you are, like Sarita said, talking to family. I mean, and the person talking back to you is family. So that was, I think, something that was, that just completely took me by surprise. And I remember that once, in fact, Doshi sir had come with Sarita to my studio in Mumbai. And I have a very tiny little studio, which is in one old fishing village. And I had actually kind of set up a little snack menu in my conference, which is on the first level. It's a 4-story space. Thinking that, I didn't want him to climb up the 4 stories, and you would, you just kind of, he'll come to the first floor and you'll, have some snacks and go away. So the minute he entered, he did not go into the conference where I had set it up. He went first straight 4 stories up. He came 4 stories down, then walked around that entire neighborhood, and then came back to have breakfast. So that was the first surprising thing. About maybe a year and a half later, I again met him and Radhika, in fact, at a restaurant. And I had assumed that Doshi sir would have forgotten, coming to my office, forgotten about me, meeting me and all of that. He turned around to Radhika and told her, "Oh, you must go to Sameep's office. It's in this beautiful small village. There are hens running all around." And he had served this particular thing at breakfast. And it was to a detail that I really didn't know how to respond. But that's the amazing kind of quality that he has. I mean, this is of course the part that was. Astounding. After this, I got a little braver, So I ventured to talk to him about architecture. So I once came to Ahmedabad to meet him. I met him somewhere. And I said that, "Sir, I just want to talk about the work that I've been doing." And I inherently grapple with doubt. I mean, it's for everything that I'm doing. I'm always kind of wondering if that's right or wrong. I mean, how do you kind of decide? So I went to Sangat, I sat with him, and I was showing him the projects that I had done. Very few projects, like 2-3 projects. I don't know why he indulged me also, because there was hardly any work to show, firstly. But he spent 2 hours talking about my childhood and the way that might have influenced the work that I was producing. And it was... I come from Mumbai, I come from Academy of Architecture. This is not the kind of conversation that we are used to having. So you understand, it was incredible. Just the ability to connect with, as a person. I mean, it was not about the architecture, it was about you connecting with another person. I think that basic quality is just amazing. I mean, of course, the work, everybody knows this. I mean, who am I to talk about his work? I mean, it's like, so the other quality that I also have to describe is when I spoke about this idea of doubt, and I asked him, "Sir, I know you do these beautiful buildings. I know you draw so beautifully. I've seen those videos like we saw today. Do you know exactly what you're drawing?" So he said, No, Sameep, I have a lot of doubt. In fact, my own daughter's house in Baroda, I built to a certain extent that I demolished and built again because I had made a mistake. So, I mean, it was just that idea about the acceptance of the fact that there is human development, there is human frailty, but all of that is a part of the process. I think that was something that was tremendous learning for me, amongst many, many other things. I mean, I could talk about this all evening. So.
Thank you, Sameep. That was wonderful. I have failed in my duty as moderator. I only introduced to Sarita and Girish. After that, I stopped introducing because Parul was my senior by 1 year, so you don't introduce your seniors. You just shut up and... And then Sameep is so well known, I don't need to introduce him. So here's another well-known figure, but he's younger to me, and so I could set him an assignment. And the assignment set to him, I don't know whether he'll follow the assignment or not, or how well he'll do it. But Riaz Tayyabji has been asked to talk about the message of Doshi's buildings, which Sameep refused to do, so now.
Thank you, Professor Chaya. And Professor Doshi, what can one say in your presence? There are a few things that I must continue on. I mean, before I come to the message, and in some sense, it's tied, as all things are when we talk about Doshi. Samir was talking about his, how Professor Doshi talked about his work and so on. I remember before we started our practice, we were taking part in this competition, which in the end led to the beginning of our practice. And we were working in a friend's flat on the 7th floor. And we asked Professor Doshi, and this was the great thing about Ahmedabad, which I think owes its germination to the Doshi spirit, that we asked 6 or 7 professors, seniors in the profession who were very well established. Professor Chaya was there, Rajiv was there, but Professor Doshi was the most senior. And the day Doshi came to give comments on in-process work. I mean, there were some dirty sketches on dirty tracings. There was no electricity in the building. So Doshi walked up 7 floors. He sat on the floor without a fan, and he talked with us for 2 hours about what we were doing. And that kind of generosity just kind of was something that actually we took quite for granted. We expected Doshi to come. I mean, I don't think we said thank you or anything like that. It was just the way things were. And that was the kind of generosity that one kind of grew in, and it was because of that generosity we were able to explore, say things, what Parul Ben was saying. You could say things to Doshi. I remember this time at the School of Architecture, we were those batches that didn't have much of Doshi. He was very busy at the time. But he came once when we were in first year, and then he was much more active when I was in my thesis years. And we would, as a band of senior thesis students, try to kind of gang up on Doshi, that today we will be able to, kind of beat him at his own argument or his own storytelling, or we'll be able to catch him on something he said, but we will not allow him to go the other way, And it was session after session of elective discussion, some of the most interesting conversations that started us beginning to understand how Doshi's mind works. We had no experience of. I mean, that's a huge statement. Nobody knows how Doshi's mind works. But you get what I'm saying. And the thing is, you could be irreverent with Doshi. In fact, today I was going to joke about with Professor Doshi that, how much respect he's getting. We never gave it to him when we were his students. So, I mean, he must be so uncomfortable there, with all this respect and so on. But it's this generosity that I strangely, while thinking about his work, realized that my first contact with Professor Doshi's architecture was at the age of 13. And I was in Ahmedabad to visit my mamu, who was working with a big company here. It was his first job. And he was busy the whole day, and he told us that, why don't you see the sights of Ahmedabad? And my mother is quite particular about these things, so my sister and I must have been dragged across to see the heritage of Ahmedabad. And he said that at 5:30 you meet us at this address. And we must have been grumbling the whole day, this sandy place, hot, seeing all this great architecture. And I don't remember anything about the day except at 5:30 when we went to meet my mamu. He was with a band of friends, and we entered through this sandy pathway, and I do remember that there was this yellow patina on the ground, which was dried neem leaves. And you entered, and you descended this set of steps, and there was this oasis in the middle of this desert, and there were these undulating lawns, and there was a kind of forest at the background. And I was like, what kind of place is this? And nothing else about Ahmedabad stayed in my mind. 5 years later, and my mamu and his band of buddies used to finish work and use the Sept canteen, which later on we found was something that a lot of people did. They hung out at the Sept canteen. You didn't have to be, but somehow that was a school of architecture. 5 years later, when I had to choose a career, the idea that you could go and study in a place like that was very strong in that's the place I want to go. So even when you had to choose places. I was introduced by another family friend to Mr. Korea, who said, no, you have to go to Doshi's school. And that was the first time I heard Professor Doshi's about his school. And it turned out that is where I would be. And I remember we think about it when one looks back at what the School of Architecture was as a building. And it never ceases to amaze me how whenever we were in the studio, the building had no sense of imposition. It was inert. You could do, we organized our tack boards. We decided how we wanted to sit. We made that space, and it's such a strong space. And it kind of recedes, and it allows you to occupy it in a way that you think is fun. You put up posters every festival, and you inhabit that building. And you take a step back and you go onto the north lawns a little bit away, and suddenly realize, but that's such an articulate, such a structured, ordered building, but you don't sense it. It doesn't kind of tell you how to do or how to be in that space. And yet, those little spaces between buildings are places where you're talking with 2 people, 5 people. You're spending as much time between buildings. And I don't know. I mean, we got gobbled up into these buildings. We never felt like we lost ourselves. We found ourselves in many ways. We got spat out. We were called Septians after that. There were good, bad things about that. But I mean, that's how it was. And you had this sense that these buildings were yours. They were themselves. The other day I was looking at some of the photographs that we see nowadays. And I came across actually some photographs of Professor Doshi's house in the Architectural Digest. And I don't mean this anything against the digest, but in the manner that we take photographs today, that house of Professor Doshi feels so distorted because of the super wide angle, and the intimacy is lost. And this is what I think, this generosity, this intimacy that we get from Professor Doshi as a person, we see it very directly in his work. And I think that's the lesson that we must all take, the message we must take. And I think it only happens, and as Professor Doshi very directly reminds us all the time, that life is larger than architecture. And I think we can very easily forget that in the kind of world we are today. So thank you, Professor Doshi.
Thank you, Riaz. I will have to think about how to grade your assignment. Should do a pretty good grade, actually. So, thank you all. I don't think we will have time. I know you want to talk, Parul, but you always do. So, no, I think we don't want to tax Doshi too much. He's so kind to sit there through all this sort of, just gappas, yeah, that's what we have been doing. Yeah, and we are not allowing him to do gappas, and then we are doing at his expense. So, thank you very much, all 5 of you. And maybe if Doshi wants to say something, Doshi, would you like to say something? You can sit. You don't have to stand up. No. You stay there. You stay there.
It was quite, I hope, quite revealing and very exciting session that I'm finding, with all of you. And I think I must thank you for taking the brighter side of my life and my characters, But one thing which I would like to just say is, this evening when we were supposed to meet here, how do we really see life? How do we experience life? And how do we connect to the place when we are active and not active? And I think that is something which is always inherent in us, but we never notice it. The important thing is curiosity, inquisitiveness, finding what you don't find, looking beyond perhaps of something that you don't understand. And I think those are the things, which I wonder. For example, when Parul was talking and when I met Nemish and others, I always looked at life as far beyond. I don't take, all the actions that are there, they happen. Actually, they are the most interesting, like going 7 floors or 4 floors and having lunch and whatnot. I think unknown venture is most exciting. And I always borrow that, and I try to remain light. And that is the secret that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Doshi. That's the Doshi we know, breaking the barriers theme also. So Sarita wants to read a small section.
It was just a paragraph I read from an article called The Moral Bucket List, which I think suits Doshi and his life. I may be wrong, but it reminds me. So sorry, I'm blind, so it'll take me a little bit of time. But yeah, so he said, the paragraph reads, the philosophy of stumblers. The stumbler scuffs through life a little off balance, but the stumbler faces his or her imperfect nature with unvarnished honesty, with the opposite of squeamishness. Recognizing his limitation, the stumbler at least has a serious foe to overcome and transcend. The stumbler has an outstretched arm, ready to receive and offer assistance to anyone. His friends are there for deep conversations, comfort, and advice. The stumbler doesn't build his life by being better than others, but by being better than he used to be. Unexpectedly, they transcend moments of deep tranquility. For most of their lives, their inner joy, inner and outer ambitions are strong and in balance. But eventually, at moments of rare joy, career ambitions pause. The ego rests. The stumbler looks out at a picnic or dinner or a valley and is overwhelmed by a feeling of limitless gratitude and an acceptance of the fact that life has treated him much, much better than he feels he deserves. These are the people we want to be. So Doshi, the perfect Doshi and the stumbler Doshi. And I just thought this paragraph so beautifully summarized somebody who's inspired us so beautifully. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarita. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
There can't be a better ending to the conversation. Thank you all. Thank you.
What a lovely session to conclude this evening with. I request you all to please remain on stage. Our team would like to present you with mementos. Can we have our team near the stage, please? Amit Ashra, Khanjan Patel, Nihal Kinariwala, Amrish Mandlik, Bhairavi Dhoot, and Umang Goswami. Thank you, Girish Doshi, sir. Thank you, Parul Zaveri, ma'am. Thank you, Professor Chaya. Thank you, Ms. Sarita Vijayan. Thank you, Sameep, sir. Thank you, Riyaz, sir. Thank you for the beautiful thoughts and stories that are sure to stay with us for days to come. Thank you so much.
चले जाएंगे, वहाँ फोटो नहीं होगा, जल्दी कर लो ना। यस, हमारा फोटो चला जाएगा।
We'd like to once again invite on stage Shri Sohan Neelkant, along with Anirudh and Dev. We'd like to thank you with mementos. For that, can we have on stage Mr. Vatsal Joshi? Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I think we'll have to wait, sir, 1 minute. What order will I? As we conclude, I'd like to call on stage Vipul Patel, the Vice Chair, IIA Ahmedabad, to thank our guests.
Good evening, everyone. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this wonderful event. And on behalf of IIA, IIID, and DWK, I'd like to thank Doshi sir and his family to be present here. And hello. I especially thank Radhika and Rajiv to be with us today. Thanks, Radhika, to help us designing this event from the beginning and until the executions of this event. I thank Sohan Neelkant for your wonderful recital performance to start with such a fantastic event. I'd like to thank all our panelists, Architect Chaya sir, Architect Girish Doshi, Architect Samip Padora, Sarita Vijayan, Architect Parul Javeri, and Riyaz Tayyabji for sharing your wonderful experience with the Doshi sir's life and let us know about some unhiding facts of the Doshis. So thank you for that. I thank all the distinguished guests, especially Jabin, the IIID President National, and IIA President Mr. Raju, who came over here and be present with us. I thank all wonderful audience to be present today and make this event so successful. And lastly, I would like to thank all forces behind this behind the designing of this event and good executions of this event. I would like to thank Sujal, Chirag Doshi, Devdutt Pandya, Amrish Mandalik, Chintan Shah, Jaidutt Vaishnav, Khanjan Patel, Nihal Kinariwala, Shiba Shehnaz, Umang Goswami, Bhairavi, and lastly Aditi to host this wonderful event. So thank you so much. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Vipul Bhai. For our audience, thank you for being so wonderful. I'm sure you all feel as fulfilled in attending as we do in putting this together for you. I'd like to call upon the stage Jaidutt Vaishnav from IIA Ahmedabad to introduce the video Tributes to Doshi. And before we have Jaidutt, before you all leave, please join us for refreshments. Thank you.
One last minute, friends. Regarding this video, I'd like to share something very interesting, the journey, our experience. The tribute to Doshi, the messages came across the world from his old clients, old friends, students, old colleagues. And the compilation of all together was an amazing experience. I would like to thank the following people who helped in making this happen. Architect Durganand Balsawar, his Doshi's ex-student, for reaching out to the foreign architect, including Peter Rich of South Africa and Sandro from Italy. Architect Sohan Nilkant to reach out to Harshvardhan Neotia. And of course, Radhika Ben and Khushnu for sharing the contact details of everybody. I would also thank Dinesh Mehta, renowned photographer, for sharing some of his very precious photos of Doshi in this video. Urmila Ben Kanoria was not only prompt in sending across her own video, but also offered us to access the photo archive in Kanoria Center. And there in the computer drive, there are almost like 40-50 folders full of Doshi's photos. And so there are a lot of, some of their photos we have tried to weave in this video. What we felt is that all these people who have shared their video were like, they were waiting for this moment to share their feeling, their experiences for Doshi. And they had a common complaint that within a time duration of 60 to 90 seconds, how can they do justice to Doshi? So all of them have used their own 60 to 90, their own version of 60 to 90 seconds, and tried sharing from wherever, whatever they could, whatever medium they had, from wherever they are, from Calcutta, from USA, from Italy, from Australia, from Nasik, from Ahmedabad. So a lot of people have shared. There are few videos are already in the, about to come. We are going to compile it in the larger film. And all those I request who have spent a very good time with Doshi, work with Doshi. We have a video booth here. Please share your own experience, your own feelings about Doshi, being with Doshi. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Our relationship in our life at Ahmedabad. To start with, Doshi starts his day with yoga and pranayam in the early morning. So, in Hindu religion, I always consider him as yogi. As yogi, his soul has been so pure that he has always been ready and willing to help everybody in all walks of life. Doshi has achieved all possible awards as an architect, which possibly nobody else has achieved. There are many persons who are intelligent, but there is a difference between intelligent persons and a genius. I will put Doshi in the class of genius, and such genius people put their mark in life for a number of years to come, who will be remembered as an architect of the highest nature.
Doshi, our paths were charted to meet in discussion on a bus between the hotel and the 361 conference in Mumbai 10 years ago. That cemented a friendship, and your friendship has changed my life. You've taught me so much. Firstly, you taught me how the Western world holds us, in your opinion, holds the concept of certainty and perfection, and how flawed that is, and how India holds a worldview of uncertainty as a way of dealing with both change and the future, and how constructive that can be. You spoke of curiosity. You spoke of looking for clues and understanding those clues as a way of guiding you. You spoke of being open and receptive to your intuition. And Johanni Palasma has affirmed that 90 to 95% of what we do creatively is through being open to intuition. You specifically spoke of darkness, and you drew our attention and the world's attention to the importance of there being too much light in architecture. And I've started to draw darkness as a result of your quest to look for the darkness in architecture. Gift exchange. My wife and I, Diane, have had the privilege of 11 hours in one-to-one discussion with you on the lawn of your home, in talking about life. I feel so rewarded by that. You sent me to Mandu, and I'm now trying to curate an exhibition on Mandu to bring the wonders of that place to the world. And you inspired me to do drawings, which I gave you as a gift for your 90th birthday.